Phuket has a reputation problem that is entirely of its own making and entirely overstated. The largest island in Thailand, 576 square kilometers of limestone hills, tropical forest, and coastline, has been reduced in most people's pre-trip imagination to a single image. Patong, the strip of bars and neon that occupies a 2-kilometer beach on the island's west coast. Patong is real. It is also one beach on an island with dozens, and one neighborhood in a place with considerably more going on than the reputation suggests. Phuket in 2026 is more expensive and more developed than the version of it that lives in most people's heads. And, in its best corners, more genuinely beautiful. The Andaman Sea on a clear January morning is still the color that seems impossible. The limestone karsts of Phanga Bay still rise from the water in formations that look designed rather than geological. The beaches of the island's south, Nai Harn, Yanui, Ao Sane, still deliver the combination of clear water, white sand, and relative quiet that the island's best marketing has always promised. The trick is knowing which parts of the island to prioritize and which to skip entirely. This is the complete guide. The beaches ranked honestly, the islands worth the crossing, the Old Town neighborhood most visitors overlook, the areas to stay matched to the traveler type, the 2026 prices and crowd reality, and the specific things that separate a mediocre Phuket trip from a great one. The beaches. What you actually need to know. Patong. Patong, the most famous beach in Phuket, and, for certain types of visitor, exactly what they came for. A long curve of white sand backed by an uninterrupted strip of beach bars, jet ski rentals, banana boat operators, massage stalls, and the full infrastructure of a beach engineered over decades for maximum tourist throughput. The sand is clean and the water is clear. By 9 a.m., the equipment is up and the hawkers are working, and the beach has become something else entirely. Loud, crowded, transactional, and extremely efficient at extracting money from everyone on it. In the early morning, it is beautiful. The rest of the day, it is what it is. If nightlife is the reason you are in Phuket Bangla Road, the pedestrianized strip behind the beach is exactly why you are here. The bars, clubs, and cabaret shows operate from 9 p.m. until well past dawn and constitute one of the most concentrated nightlife strips in Southeast Asia. Go with appropriate expectations, and the experience delivers. Arrive expecting a quiet Thai beach town, and you will be confused before you have unpacked. Kata and Karon. South of Patong, Kata and Karon offer a more restrained version of the same formula. Kata has surf schools, proper local restaurants alongside the tourist infrastructure, and a town character that Patong's scale overwhelms. Kata Noi, the small cove immediately south, is one of the prettier beaches on the main tourist strip. Narrower, less commercial, with the afternoon light quality that makes the Andaman coast famous. Neither is quiet, but both are significantly more human in scale than Patong. Nai Harn. Nai Harn, in the island's far south, is where Phuket shows you what it looks like without the density. The beach is large, the water is clear and shallow for a long way out, and the headlands on either side frame it in a way the northern beach's uninterrupted development does not permit. The Nai Harn lake behind the beach, ringed with mangroves and frequented by kingfishers, adds a layer of natural texture that the resort areas have paved over. On a clear December morning, Nai Harn is the beach that explains what the original fuss was about: Yanui and Freedom Beach. Yanui, a tiny cove a few hundred meters south of Nai Harn, is what you point to when someone says Phuket has no quiet beaches. A small crescent between two rocky headlands, snorkeling immediately accessible, a handful of beach chairs, and one small restaurant. Come in the morning before it fills. Freedom Beach, accessible only by longtail from Patong's southern end or by steep jungle path, filters out the casual visitor through logistics alone. White sand, turquoise water, no road access, a crowd that maxes at a few hundred people even in high season. The boat takes 15 minutes. Go early. Stay for the afternoon light. Sane. Sane on the headland between Harn and Rawai is a rocky cove with excellent snorkeling immediately from shore. Coral gardens beginning a few meters from the beach. Fish density higher than most of the island's more visited snorkel sites. Not a conventional swimming beach, but for anyone with a mask and fins, one of the best accessible snorkeling spots on the island. Arrive before 11. Island hopping. Where to go and how. Phi Phi Islands. Koh Phi Phi is the most visited island day trip from Phuket, and the reasons remain valid despite the crowds. The limestone karsts rising from water of an extraordinary blue-green, the snorkeling at multiple sites around the island group, and Maya Bay, the beach made famous by the 2000 film, destroyed by its own fame, closed for rehabilitation from 2018 to 2022, and now reopened with a daily visitor cap of 300 people at a time. Make it worth the speedboat crossing. Maya Bay in 2026 is better than the chaotic version that existed before the closure. The coral has recovered significantly. The beach is managed. The turquoise water within the bay, enclosed by 3 sides of limestone wall, is extraordinary. It is still extremely popular and fills to its cap quickly. Book through an operator departing before 7 a.m. and arriving at Maya Bay in the first wave of the morning. If the schedule allows, stay overnight on Phi Phi Dawn. After the day boats return to Phuket, the island changes completely. The villages come alive with restaurants and local bar energy. And the beach at sunrise before anyone is awake is one of the finest morning experiences in southern Thailand. The difference between Phi Phi as a day trip and Phi Phi as an overnight is the difference between seeing it and knowing it. Phang Nga Bay, James Bond Island, Phang Nga Bay National Park, 45 minutes northeast of Phuket by speedboat, is the most significant day trip from the island. The bay contains Koh Tapu, the thin pillar of limestone rising from the water that appeared in The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974, and has been called James Bond Island ever since. The rock itself is genuinely extraordinary. The bay surrounding it, with its 42 islands, and countless karst formations reflected in the tidal channels, is one of the great natural spectacles in Thailand, regardless of any film association. The kayaking through the sea caves and mangrove channels is the essential element of a Phang Nga Bay day. Paddling through a cave into a haw, an enclosed lagoon completely surrounded by vertical limestone walls, no ceiling except sky, is genuinely extraordinary and unlike anything the island of Phuket itself offers. Every itinerary of more than 4 days in Phuket should include this. Similan Islands. The Similan Islands, a marine national park 84 kilometers northwest of Phuket, offers some of the finest diving in Southeast Asia. Visibility regularly exceeds 30 meters. Whale sharks, manta rays, and leopard sharks are consistent sightings. Access is by live-aboard diving boat or by speedboat day trip from Khao Lak, 1 hour north of Phuket Airport, at approximately $80 to $120 per person in 2026. If you dive, The Similans justify adding 2 days to any Phuket itinerary. If you snorkel, the surface-level experience still exceeds most of what is available around Phi Phi, Phuket Old Town, Big Buddha, and night markets. Phuket's most underrated neighborhood is its own historic center. Phuket Old Town, concentrated around Thalang Road, Dibuk Road, and Soi Romani, is a collection of Sino-Portuguese shophouse architecture from the 19th century, built when Chinese tin miners made Phuket one of the wealthiest provinces in the region. The result is a streetscape of 2- and 3-story shophouses in faded pastels, pale yellow, mint green, dusty pink. Their ornate facades weathered in the specific way that colonial-era tropical architecture ages beautifully and in ways that increase rather than diminish their character. Independent cafes, galleries, local restaurants, and a Sunday walking street market, Lard Yai, have made the Old Town Phuket's most photographed non-beach destination in recent years. The Sunday market runs from about 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. along Tha Lang Road, closing it to traffic and filling it with food stalls, craft vendors, and the kind of local crowd that the beach areas are structured to exclude. Come for the market. Come earlier on a weekday morning when the shop houses are open for business and the street belongs to the people who live and work there rather than visitors passing through. Eat Hokkien mee, the Chinese egg noodle dish with pork and shrimp that is Phuket's signature Old Town food, at any of the shophouse restaurants on Thalang Road. Drink O Liang, traditional Thai iced black coffee made with a cotton filter sock, at a cafe that has been making it since before Patong's first bar opened. The Chilva Market near Phuket Town operates Thursday through Sunday evenings with food stalls, live music, and the kind of local commercial activity that the beach areas cannot replicate. The Big Buddha, a 45-meter seated marble image on the Nakerd Hills above Chalong, is visible from most of the island and constitutes, with Wat Chalong in the valley below, the primary Buddhist religious life of Phuket. The approach road climbs through forest to a platform where the statue dominates the landscape, and the view across the island, south to Nai Harn, west to the Andaman Sea, east to Chalong Bay, is one of the best panoramas available without a boat or aircraft. Dress modestly, no shorts, covered shoulders. Wat Chalong, the largest and most significant temple on the island, is worth visiting during a merit-making ceremony when it is operating for its community rather than for tourism. A genuinely different experience from the routine tourist visit. Where to stay by traveler type. For party travelers, Patong is the only answer. The entire infrastructure of the island's nightlife concentrates within walking distance of Bangla Road, and staying elsewhere means transport costs and logistics that diminish the experience. Budget accommodation in Patong, hostels and small guest houses, runs $20 to $50 per night for a private room. Mid-range hotels with pools run $80 to $150. The beachfront properties at the northern end of Patong Beach represent the best of what the area offers in accommodation quality. For beach relaxation, the south and southwest. Nai Harn and Rawai have the beach quality, the local character, and the lower density that the resort areas north of Kata have traded for development. Rawai is primarily a residential and fishing community, which means the markets sell food at local prices and the restaurants cook for regulars. The Rosewood Phuket in the bay above Nai Harn and the Trisara Resort overlooking its own private bay are two of the finest resort properties in Thailand for pure luxury. Budget and mid-range accommodation in Rawai provides the same beach access at a fraction of the cost. Guest houses and small boutique hotels run $40 to $100 per night. For families, Kamala and Surin beaches on the island's northwest coast offer calmer water than Patong, critical for young children, proper resort infrastructure, and enough physical distance from Bangla Road that the family character of the holiday is not compromised by proximity. The water at Surin is clear and the beach is wide. The Andara Resort and the Baba Beach Club Phuket are both specifically well configured for family stays. Budget to mid-range family guest houses in Kamala run $60 to $120 per night for a room suitable for a family of 4. For culture and authenticity, stay in or immediately adjacent to Phuket Old Town. Accommodation options have grown significantly. Boutique hotels and converted shophouses, guest houses above local restaurants, and the location means that your immediate environment is the island's actual community rather than a constructed tourist zone. The food is better, the prices are lower, and the morning walk through the shophouse streets before the day's heat builds is worth more than any poolside view in Patong. 2026 prices and crowd reality. Phuket has gotten more expensive every year for the past decade, and 2026 continues the pattern without apology. Understanding the real price landscape before arriving saves the specific frustration of discovering it on the ground. Accommodation: a mid-range hotel in Patong or Kata runs $80 to $150 per night in high season. Beachfront properties in the same areas run $150 to $300. A villa or boutique resort in Harn or Surin runs $200 to $500. At the budget end, still available in Rawai and the south, private rooms in small guest houses run $35 to $70. Activities: a speedboat day trip to Phi Phi, including snorkeling equipment and a basic lunch, runs $50 to $80 per person. A full-day Phang Nga Bay kayaking tour runs $60 to $90. A private longtail boat hire for a half-day beach hopping runs $60 to $100, depending on the itinerary and the number of people sharing the cost. A Big Buddha and Old Town cultural half-day tour runs $30 to $50 through an operator or nothing if you drive yourself. Food: dinner at a good restaurant in Phuket Old Town, the most affordable quality dining context on the island, runs $15 to $30 for 2 people with drinks. Dinner at a beachfront restaurant in Surin or Kamala runs $50 to $120 for 2. A meal at a local soda-style Thai restaurant in Rawai or Chalong runs $8 to $15 for 2. Crowd levels in 2026. Peak season runs mid-December through April. The absolute peak is Christmas through the second week of January, when accommodation prices rise 50 to 100% above standard high season rates. And Patong Beach on a Saturday afternoon is genuinely difficult to move through. Harn and the south remain manageable throughout high season because the infrastructure naturally limits the crowd. The shoulder season of October and November, the tail end of the southwest monsoon, offers manageable crowds and prices 20 to 30% below peak, with weather that is transitioning from rainy to dry and increasingly reliable from mid-October onward. Ethical activities and what to avoid. Elephant riding is not an ethical activity in Thailand in 2026. The training processes required to make an elephant compliant enough to carry tourists, the fajan, or crushing, that breaks the animal's will through confinement and physical stress, cause suffering that no responsible traveler should finance. This applies regardless of how the operation is marketed, what the operator claims about their welfare standards, or how well presented the experience appears. The riding is the problem, not the presentation. The ethical alternative is a genuine sanctuary, one where elephants live in large naturalistic enclosures, are not required to perform or carry tourists, and are observed at a respectful distance. The Phuket Elephant Sanctuary operates on these principles and is certified by welfare organizations that independently verify the conditions. Similar operations certified by the World Animal Protection Standards exist within day trip distance of Phuket. Research before booking. The word sanctuary is used by operations that are not sanctuaries, and the distinction requires active verification. The same principle applies to tiger temples offering direct contact with sedated animals, civet cat coffee farms where you interact with caged civets as part of the purchase experience, and any operation offering photographs with wild animals that have been confined or medicated for the purpose. The photograph is not worth the welfare cost to the animal. What is worth doing? Snorkeling in Sane's coral gardens, kayaking through the Haw of Phang Nga Bay at high tide, hiking the jungle paths above Harn to the southern viewpoints, taking a cooking class in Phuket Old Town, where the instruction is genuinely about Thai culinary technique rather than tourism performance, visiting Wat Chalong on a Tuesday morning when the only people there are the local worshippers, eating at the Rawai seafood market, where the catch comes off the boats and onto the grill in the same afternoon. Phuket in 2026 rewards the visitor who refuses to let Patong define the island before they arrive. The crowds are real, the prices are real, the tourist infrastructure is comprehensive to a fault in the northern beaches, and none of this is going to change because the demand that created it shows no signs of diminishing. All of this is also entirely beside the point when you are watching the sunrise from Promthep Cape at the island's southern tip, with the Andaman Sea catching the light below you in every shade between pink and gold. Know what you want. Book accommodation in the part of the island that matches what you want. Get on a boat at least once to Phi Phi, to Phang Nga Bay, to somewhere that requires the water crossing to reach. Swim in the Andaman Sea in January when the visibility is 20 meters and the temperature is 28 degrees. And you understand immediately, in the way that only physical experience provides, why people keep coming back to this particular stretch of water. Then subscribe, because next week we go somewhere else entirely, and it is just as extraordinary.